It's an absolute privilege to be sitting here with Kim Barthel and Theo Fleury, authors of Conversations with the Rattlesnake. Thanks very much for doing this, guys. First of all, Theo, tell us about the book and how a project like this comes about.
There's so many places I could start, but you know, the first book that I wrote was such an incredible experience that, and I had so many people come up to me and start telling me their own stories through the first book, and I wanted to sort of do something to follow it up, and I just happened to be at the same conference where Kim was, you know, also a keynote speaker, and I sort of snuck into the back of the room and listened to her presentation and was absolutely blown away at the information which she was providing. And so when she was done, I quickly ran over to where she was and I said, hey you, I said, you just changed my life, and I said, I think you'll be working with me for the rest of yours. And that really started this conversation between the two of us.
What was that like meeting Theo, first of all? When he told you that, obviously that's a bit of a compliment.
Well, you know, at first, when this guy says, hey you, I'm looking at him like, who are you? So, yes. You know, that whole meeting instantaneously was about the mission. And so as soon as we started our conversation about, you know, this need to connect for the purposes of healing, it was like a lightning bolt, essentially. And so there was no stopping it from that moment forward.
When you hear from people, whether it's at book signings or on the street, and the response you get from people who have read the book or who have gone through something very similar that you have, what's that like? What's your main message to them that you want to convey?
9 times out of 10, I don't have to say anything other than the fact that, you know, like I know what it's like to carry around, you know, a secret or shame for a long time, and I know what it's like to get rid of it. And most times I just need to be able to hold the space long enough for them to sort of tell their story, and the magic that happens. You know, you see somebody who's really kind of closed, looking at the floor, to when they're done speaking, you know, their eyes are bright and their posture has changed, and you know, you can really see them get rid of that shame in a short period of time. And so it's probably the greatest gift that, you know, that I've received through all of this is you know, being looked to as somebody who's a safe place to sort of come and unload this stuff. I guess the thing that I think about the most is just all the incredible people that we've met along the way. It was only 10 short years ago that, you know, I had a fully loaded pistol in my mouth ready to pull the trigger, and from that has come all of this. So, you know, just very blessed, I guess.
So the old hockey player, that anxious, moving fast, holding on to all this energy, swearing every second sentence.
Completely different persona.
Completely different person than the person that I know now.
So Theo, when you go back to, say, a week before you told the world your story and you came out with that, what were some of the feelings you were feeling in that moment? And what ultimately made you decide to tell us?
I don't know what really inclined me to tell the story, other than the fact that I just wanted to put it all down on paper, take one last look at it and put it in its rightful place, which was the past. But obviously that didn't happen because, you know, but I can tell you I was very fearful and very afraid, because I didn't know how the public was going to react to what was in the book, because I was, you know, throwing it all out there and laying it all out on the line. And but, you know, you quickly realize you take all the hockey stuff out of my book, and I'm telling 13.5 million other Canadian stories who have, you know, gone through similar experiences. It was such a mind-blowing, incredible experience today. And for me to walk into a prison with people who, you know, are perpetrators, to me is an absolute miracle, because it wasn't too long ago that I was all about justice and all of that. And so I've really sort of switched my focus to healing, and that means all encompassing. Everybody, you know, needs healing, and what I saw today in the nonverbal communication from the inmates that we spoke to was that they had the same pain in their eyes that I had a long time ago. And that's really what gets us out of bed every day, and you know, we look for that opportunity to help, you know, people deal with this stuff, and it's not like we don't have to look very hard to find, you know, these people, because they're everywhere.
And I think that's a big point too. It's one thing to reveal this trauma about your life, but to have that conversation be ongoing is also just as crucial, right?
Absolutely, and necessary. You know, and for us, the conversation is an everyday phenomenon, and the ease of that conversation sets a tone for everyone else to have that same ease. So it keeps that momentum going around the safety in creating change.
What would you say, Kim, to someone, say, watching right now who's going through a troubling time in their life, but really hasn't had the ability to kind of muster up that courage to come out? Because that's obviously a big thing.
Well, you know, it is about finding one safe person that you can be with. And you don't necessarily have to come out, per se, but when you experience a safe relationship, that rewires your brain and gives you that place of comfort within yourself.
Well, I think the both of you have done a tremendous job in educating people about this subject. It's so respectable to see people who are comfortable in their own skin. Shedding skin here, I've heard that quote many times.
Of course, yes.
And I think you two have done a wonderful job in educating people and really helping people, giving people that courage and that hope. So I know they thank you, and I thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Yes.
sir.
Yeah. Thank you.